Hello, everybody. This is Derek from Matricon, and in this session, I'm going to talk about how you bring in information models into an OPC server, and then how you can go about using that. So first of all, information models are typically put together into a companion specification where they serve a specific purpose, whether it's for a given industry or just a specific application. And companion specifications are composed of two key components. Number one, they have a node set file, which is an XML file. That's what's consumed by the software as it reads it in. And also a description that's human readable, and that's basically a PDF. You can get a lot of information about which companion specifications are available currently from the OPC Foundation website. If you want to jump to that, you can just use the QR code shown on the side. Now, OPC UA servers can then read in those XML files or the node set files. And depending on how your OPC UA server was written by the vendor, if it does have the ability to read in a companion specification, it will either do so through a command line parameter where you're reading it in as you're starting up the server, or it may have an interface where you can actually dynamically identify which companion specifications you want to load, and then it will load those. So that really is implementation specific. Okay, so for the demonstration that I'm going to run in this session, I will use Matricon software. We're going to be talking to a Matricon data broker, which is the key component that actually allows you to read in those information models, the node set files, and then lets you map them to various data sources so you can start using the model. We'll be using OPC UA Explorer as the GUI, as the interface. And what that will look like is like that. So basically, we will use that as the front end, but basically all the true activity is actually happening below in the data broker. All right, so the steps I'm going to walk through in this demonstration are: number one, I'm going to load a node set file, going to instantiate a type, in this case, a boiler type. I'm going to map data from a simulated data source to it, and then we're going to monitor those values just to see that, hey, it actually works. So let's get started with that. So the first thing we're going to do in Explorer is go to the import section. So that's under the instance management. On the right-hand side, we're going to click on import and identify where the node set file is. So in this case, I already have it downloaded. So we'll select the file for the boiler companion specification, pull it in, validate it. Once it's read in, it's added into our address space. So now the types that were defined there, as you can see on the left as we scroll, we can find the boiler type, and we have it. And the next thing we want to do is now instantiate it so that we actually have an object or an instance that we can work with. So we identify several attributes for it, because what you're doing is taking a type that's now in your address space. It defines what that structure would look like. And now you have to instantiate it, and you have to identify how that's going to plug into the address space. So where on the tree in your address space you will actually attach it to, where is it going to sit in that? So now, once we've done that, on the left, you can see, again, we're looking now at the instances. So we identify, or we choose the type, the boiler type. And the next thing that we're going to do now is run through and identify a data source on the left. And we're going to map that to one of the attributes of that object, of the boiler object. So right now, scrolling through, just identifying where I'm going to choose some values that are going to be dynamically updating, just so we can see some values that are actually changing. And once we select that, we go to the right side and we basically follow the pattern of mapping from source on the left to destination on the right. So now when I browse through the address space again, and I get to the particular attribute I want to choose from the boiler, and I want to say, okay, I would like to map between that source and this destination. When that mapping is done, we also want to give it a name so we can identify which mappings we have created. And we'll basically go through and do this for, let's say, a couple more. So we'll have 3 different attributes that we've mapped. So now that we have those 3 attributes mapped, we can go back and take a look at our data view. And when we browse through our address space now, looking for the actual values, we again browse down to our instance of boiler, our demo boiler, and we basically identify the types. We can either choose individual nodes to monitor, or you can drop the entire object in like I did here, and that starts to basically it'll pull in all the nodes and break them out in the view. And we can see that the 3 that we mapped are now updating from the original underlying data source. The nice thing with this is that you can now access that underlying information via this information model, and hence you're putting it to good use. All right, so that in a nutshell is how you load an information model, how you map it to a particular data source, and then how you can start to work with it. So I hope you found this useful, and talk to you next time. Thanks.